at a hospital ribbon cutting, an elderly black crossing guard in a neon yellow vest watches a covered sign being unveiled. The man pulling the cord was blind when she met him. The drape falls. Gold letters, The Nancy Wing, 1999, Cincinnati. Miss Nancy had guarded Fifth and Vine for over 20 years. One September morning, a blind boy with a white cane stumbled toward her corner. No aid, no guide. The district refused to provide one. His 8-block walk was his own risk. Nobody expected him to survive a week.
No child should face the street alone. Not here. Not on my shift.
Nancy stepped off her post, crossed the street, and took the boy's hand.
You're not walking alone anymore, baby. I'll be your eyes from now on.
She didn't know she'd be giving up 45 minutes every morning, unpaid for the next 7 years, and she never missed a single morning.
You really don't have to do this every day, Miss Nancy. I can learn the route.
He doesn't know. I called the district office twice. They said, we don't provide aids. Not in the budget.
Mrs. Clarice, I've told you before, there's no funding for a one-on-one aid. The boy is the parent's responsibility.
The boy is the parent's responsibility. But his mother works 2 jobs. So who walks him? The street?
So she set her alarm for 5:45 a.m., 45 minutes before her shift, unpaid. Every morning before she even put on her vest. She met Kevin at his front steps at exactly 6:30. Rain or shine, snow or ice, the city never bothered. But Nancy always showed. As they walked, she started doing something extra. She described the world he couldn't see, every detail.
What's that smell? It's like sweet and fresh.
Curb, step down, and on your left, a dogwood tree blooming white, petals like little stars, and that smell, that's Miss Ruth frying fish next door.
That was the first of thousands. Over 7 years, Nancy gave him the world in words, curbs, seasons, sounds, the color of the sky. One morning, Kevin stopped mid-sidewalk. He'd been silent for 2 blocks, then finally asked the question every blind child eventually asks.
Miss Nancy, what does red look like?
Red is the heat of the sun on your face in July. It's the taste of cinnamon on toast. It's the sound of a fire truck screaming past, urgent and alive.
She didn't just name colors. She built them out of things he could feel, taste, hear. After that, Kevin demanded a definition for everything they passed.
Every morning she builds the world for me. Sounds, smells, textures. It's like I'm learning to see with my ears and skin.
Through winter, she described the crunch of snow underfoot and the way bare branches scratched the sky like old fingers.
Curb, ice on the left. Feel that cold? That's how the air holds its breath.
By spring, Kevin didn't just follow her words. He started to predict them, to know the route by the rhythm of her voice.
We're passing the bakery now, right? I can smell the yeast, and your voice gets echoey by the brick wall.
Season after season, through autumn leaves and winter silence, Nancy's voice became the only compass he needed. She never missed a single morning, but the route wasn't always safe. One frozen morning, Kevin's cane hit a patch of black ice. Before he could fall, Nancy grabbed him, her own knee slamming the concrete. A sharp pain shot up her leg.
Miss Nancy, are you okay? I heard something crack.
Just these old knees reminding me I am not 25 anymore. Curb, keep walking. I am right here.
Another time, a sudden downpour shredded her cheap umbrella. She held the broken frame over Kevin's head and got soaked to the bone.
He doesn't need to know I am shivering. As long as his books stay dry, nothing else matters.
Middle school. Kevin stood nearly her height now, his voice deeper. Still, she met him at the same steps every morning. The neighbors had watched it for years. The crossing guard and the blind boy, a daily ritual no city official ever noticed.
She's been walking me longer than any teacher ever taught me. Someday I'll find a way to show her what she's given me.
But that day was years away. For now, all she had was the walk, the cold, and the coy certainty that she was exactly where she needed to be. By high school, Kevin had absorbed every detail. One spring morning, he let go of her hand.
He's ready, but if he doesn't need my hand, what am I to him now?
Kevin's cane tapped the sidewalk. He whispered the cues to himself, using her words.
Curb. 30 steps to the oak tree. Now the grass slopes down, so the school gate is 40 feet left.
He's narrating for himself now. My words are inside him. That's enough. That has to be enough.
He made it. His hand found the gate. Nancy stood 20 yards back, silent, tears cutting through the dust on her face.
Miss Nancy? Your words are like eyes. I see the street through what you gave me.
You did good, baby. You did real good.
But she knew this was the beginning of the end. Soon, he wouldn't need her to walk him at all. The gift she'd given was making herself unnecessary.
That's what we want, isn't it? For them to not need us anymore. Then why does it feel like losing him forever?
The final winter, Nancy's knee never truly healed. On the coldest mornings, she leaned on Kevin as much as he leaned on her.
You are limping. It's worse today, isn't it? Please, Miss Nancy. You need to see a doctor. I can manage the walk now.
Doctors cost money I don't have, and rest is for people with time. Don't you worry about me, Curb.
A teacher spotted them at the school gate. She smiled warmly and called out to Kevin.
Kevin, your grandmother is so devoted. Does she ever take a day off? Grandmother. Not even family, just the woman who walks him. That's all the world sees.
But Nancy never corrected her. She simply took Kevin's arm and walked him through the gate, as she had for over 2,000 days. Her alarm still rang at 5:45. Her body ached more. But the boy was nearly a man now, and she'd promised herself she'd see him through.
I graduate in 3 months. How do I leave her? How do I say thank you for a lifetime of mornings?
The 7th year, the last spring, the dogwoods bloomed again, and Nancy could barely walk the last block. But she never let go. Graduation morning. They walked the old route one last time, past the dogwoods now thick with June leaves. Neither spoke.
I know every crack in this sidewalk because of her voice. This is the last time. I can't find the words to thank her.
At the ceremony, Kevin's name was called. He navigated the stage with his cane, diploma in hand. Nancy sat in the back, wearing her vest over her best dress.
And I owe my deepest thanks to the woman who walked me to school every single day for 7 years. She knows who she is.
He mentioned no name. The audience clapped politely. Nancy slipped her hand over her heart and just nodded.
They don't know my name, but he does. He carries my voice in his head. That's enough. That's always been enough.
Afterward, Kevin found her near the gate. He took her hand, just like the first morning.
I'll be back, Miss Nancy. I promise. And when I do, the whole world will know your name.
You just go on and be great, baby. That's all the thanks I'll ever need.
Then she went back to her corner, put on her vest, and lifted her paddle as the sun went down. The walks were over. The ache was just beginning. In college, Kevin navigated alone, Nancy's voice still guiding. Curb, 30 steps to the oak. He coded blind into the night. At 30, an experimental retinal implant offered partial sight. He risked it all for a glimpse of the world Nancy had described. In the OR, he whispered her name before the anesthesia pulled him under.
Red is the heat of the sun. Blue is cold. If I see them, I'll find her and show her.
When bandages came off, light flooded, blurry shapes, then colors. For the first time in 30 years, Kevin saw.
That's red. That's really red. She was right. It's hot and alive, like a fire truck screaming.
With restored sight, he built accessible software that changed lives. His company soared. Nancy's silver hair matched the winter streets, still rising at 5:45, still holding her paddle at 5th and Vine. She never missed a morning.
He's out there doing great things. I know it, but I don't need to see him. I just hope he's still seeing the world right.
and she had no idea that 30 miles away, a man with her voice in his head was preparing a gift that would echo for generations. Kevin returned to Cincinnati, parking across from Fifth and Vine. He watched her from behind tinted glass, his childhood compass still at her post.
She's older. Her limp is worse. But she's still here. Every morning. I owe her more than money can ever repay.
He drove to the city's largest children's hospital and requested a meeting with the board. He didn't come asking for a donation receipt. He came with a demand.
I'll fund an entire pediatric ophthalmology wing. State of the art. But the name on the wall won't be mine.
He signed over $3 million, every cent dedicated to the wing. The board agreed, bewildered. Then he hired a discreet audio engineer. The task, capture the voice of a 70-year-old crossing guard without her ever knowing the true reason.
I need you to record her describing her neighborhood, her smells, her sounds. She thinks she's doing an oral history project.
The engineer called Nancy, posing as a university researcher collecting neighborhood stories. She agreed easily. She loved talking about her block.
You want me to talk about the dogwoods and the bakery. I'd love to, baby. When do we start?
Kevin listened from the next room as the first recording session began. Her voice, clear and warm, filled the silence. The gift was taking shape. The studio was warm, a single microphone waiting. Nancy put on the headphones, confused but willing.
On the corner of Fifth and Vine, there's a dogwood tree that blooms white like tiny stars every April. And when the wind blows, the petals fall like snow. You can smell Miss Ruth's fried fish from 3 houses down. Miss Ruth always said, "Nancy, you are the only crossing guard who brings an appetite."
Week after week, she went back. She described the crack of ice on frozen puddles, the hum of streetlights at dawn, the sound of the school bell in a back room. Kevin listened to every take. His eyes were wet before the first word finished.
This is it. This is her voice, eternal. Every blind child who walks these halls will hear the world the way I did.
The final session ended. The engineer handed Kevin a hard drive containing 17 hours of her voice, enough to last a lifetime.
Now build the wing and put speakers at a child's height. Her voice will guide them.
Nancy went back to her corner, unaware that her every word had been stitched into the walls of the future. Kevin stared at the cream-colored invitation for an hour. He'd handwritten community guest on the envelope. The lie tasted like chalk.
If I tell her it's named after her, she'll feel put on the spot. This has to be a surprise. It's the only way she'll accept it.
The next morning, he walked to Fifth and Vine. Nancy was wiping the morning dew off her paddle when she saw him.
Miss Nancy, the hospital is opening a new wing. They'd like a community guest. I thought of you.
That evening, Nancy sat in her armchair. Reading the invitation over and over, she whispered to the empty room.
Why would a hospital want a crossing guard at an opening? I just stand on a corner, but they asked me, so I'll go. Hello, yes, I got the invitation. I'll be there. What? You want me to wear my work vest, the neon one, over my dress? Well, if that's what you want. I've worn it every day for 30 years. One more won't hurt.
She hung up and looked at her vest. She had no idea that the building would soon bear her name, that her voice already lived inside its walls. The night before the ceremony, Kevin drove past the wing. The sign was draped in cloth. He touched the covered letters and said her name like a prayer. On the morning of the ceremony, Nancy fastened her best church dress and pulled the neon vest over it, as instructed.
I've worn this vest on every street corner, but never inside a hospital. What on earth am I doing?
She walked the 8 blocks to the bus stop, her vest a blazing yellow against the gray November sky. When she stepped off the bus, the hospital towered above her, a monument of glass and white stone. Inside, the lobby was a sea of tailored suits and polished shoes. She instinctively reached for her stop paddle, but it wasn't there. Kevin stood by a second-floor window, watching her navigate the crowd, his hand pressed flat against the cold glass.
She's here. After all these years, everything begins now.
A volunteer guided Nancy to a seat near the front, far from the exit. She clutched her invitation like a life raft.
Why am I in the front row? Community guests sit in the back. Something's not right.
But before she could make sense of it, the lights dimmed and the microphone crackled. The hospital director spoke about cutting-edge care and brighter futures. Nancy nodded politely, but her fingers twisted in her lap.
They keep saying community this, community that, but nobody here looks like my block. Why did they ask me?
Then the MC announced a name she hadn't heard in over a decade. Kevin Adebayo walked to the podium, sharp suit, glasses, eyes that now saw.
Most of you know me as a tech founder, but 25 years ago, I was a blind boy terrified of the 8-block walk to school.
Nancy's hand stopped mid-clap, her breath caught.
Every morning, a woman in a neon vest met me at my front door. She walked me door to door for 7 years, unpaid, before her own shift.
That's not possible. He's talking about someone else. He has to be.
She didn't just guide me. She narrated the world. Dogwood blossoms like little stars, the smell of Miss Ruth's fried fish, the cold that makes the air hold its breath.
That's my words. That's what I said to him every morning. Oh Lord, he's talking about me.
Kevin paused, his gaze dropping to the front row, finding a woman in a neon vest who had stopped breathing.
Nancy Clarice, please come up here. This wing, it's yours.
Nancy shook her head, frozen, but Kevin walked off the stage and took her trembling hand.
I can't walk up there. I am just a crossing guard. The wing is mine? It can't be.
He guided her up the steps. On stage, her old stop paddle leaned against the covered sign, waiting.
Take hold of the cord, Miss Nancy. Pull it with me. Show the world whose name is on this wall.
Their hands, one old, one young, pulled. The drape fell. Gold letters blazed on white stone. The Nancy wing. Nancy's hand flew to her mouth, her chest heaving. Kevin steadied her as her legs weakened, but she didn't fall.
My name. For children's eyes. Oh, sweet Jesus. He remembered every morning and built all this.
The audience rose, not polite applause, but a roar that shook the glass. Every person on their feet for the woman in the neon vest.
You were my eyes for 7 years. Now you'll be theirs forever. But the walls of this wing do more than keep out the wind.
He pressed a button. From speakers at a child's height, a familiar voice unspooled into the hall. Curb, step down. And on your left, a dogwood tree blooming white like tiny stars. Nancy's hand flew to her chest. That voice, it was her own.
That's from the Oral History Project. He said it was for a university. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Every blind child who walks these halls will hear the world through your words. The smells, the sounds, the way the cold holds its breath.
The recording continued, and Nancy stood listening as her voice described the crack of ice on puddles, the hum of streetlights at dawn. She covered her mouth, but this time it wasn't shock. It was the sound of a gift coming home.
I was blind, Miss Nancy, but you taught me to see. Now every child here will learn the same way.
Nancy sobbed, and Kevin pulled her into an embrace. The hall erupted. But the only sound she heard was her own voice, guiding a blind child home. The ovation rolled on like a river, filling every corner of the hall. But Nancy barely heard it. Kevin guided her toward the entrance of the wing, where a crimson ribbon stretched across the doorway. He placed the ceremonial scissors in her hands.
Will you do the honors? You've cut through more obstacles than anyone in this room.
Nancy's grip tightened over Kevin's. The blades closed, the ribbon fell in 2 clean halves, and the wing was officially open. The crowd surged forward with congratulations. But Kevin held her back for a moment, his own composure finally cracking.
She still doesn't see it. All of this is just a reflection of what she gave me for free.
Nancy pulled Kevin close, dabbing her eyes with the sleeve of her vest, and spoke so softly, only he could hear.
You saw it all, didn't you? Every curb, every dogwood, every morning, and you kept it safe until you could give it back.
I never forgot one word, not a single one.
Then he led her through the doors of the Nancy wing, where her voice already waited for the next blind child. Kevin stepped back. Nancy walked the polished floor alone, the wing humming with quiet purpose. A soft glow marked the first audio panel at a child's height, her own voice drifting from it like a memory. Down the corridor, a young girl in a hospital gown stood on tiptoe, pressing the play button again and again. Nancy's recorded voice filled the space. Curb, can you feel the sun on your left? That's spring. The girl lifted her face, milky eyes, a smile blooming because the voice had told her she was safe. Nancy stepped forward and placed her hand gently on the child's shoulder. The girl didn't flinch, she just listened harder.
She's just like Kevin was, and my voice is the first thing she trusts in this strange place.
The recording looped, "Miss Ruth's frying fish smells like home." The girl giggled. Nancy's eyes welled up. For a long moment, she just stood there, her hand on the child's shoulder, her voice wrapping around them both like a lullaby. She had walked one blind boy to school. Now her voice was leading thousands home, through every curb and every dogwood in bloom. At dawn, Nancy laced her shoes and picked up her paddle. The wing was miles away, but her corner was right here. A neighbor called out, "Nancy, you are famous." She just shook her head and smiled.
Famous is for walls. The children are what matters, and they're coming.
The first child appeared at the corner. She raised her paddle, and the cars stopped. The afternoon sun caught the gold letters of the wing in the distance. But her eyes were on the street. On her birthday, a black hospital car idled at the curb. She made the driver wait until her shift ended. She refused to retire. The city offered a plaque, but she refused that too. She just wanted her paddle.
Kevin gave me a wing, but these children gave me a life. I won't leave them.
And when the last child crossed, she lowered her paddle and smiled into the fading light. Nothing had changed. Everything had changed. A year later, on her birthday, a black hospital car pulled to the curb at 5th and Vine.
He's early. Well, he can wait. My shift isn't over until the last child crosses safe.
She held up a hand to the driver. 5 minutes. Then she stepped into the street for the next group of children. The driver leaned against the car, arms folded, a small smile. No one rushed Nancy Clarice. Only when the sidewalk was empty did she lower her paddle, unclip her vest, and walk to the car. The driver opened the door. Nancy looked back at the crossing one more time.
Just a couple of hours. I'll be back in time for the afternoon shift.
She slid into the back seat, vest folded on her lap. The car pulled away past the dogwood tree toward the wing. The crossing guard, who refused to stop guarding, crossed another kind of threshold that day. And when she got out at the hospital, she was still wearing her old work shoes. Inside the wing, a little girl in a hospital gown approached the glowing panel at child height. She pressed the button, and a familiar voice filled the corridor. "Curb, can you feel the sun on your left? That's spring." The girl lifted her face, milky eyes blinking, and a smile bloomed. She pressed it again. The voice described the dogwood tree blooming white like tiny stars. She tucked her chin and listened, as if the words were a lullaby just for her. Nancy's voice had no idea who was pressing the button. It just kept giving, season after season. A nurse passed by and smiled. The wing hummed with quiet healing, and somewhere across town, a crossing guard lifted her paddle, unaware that another child had just learned to see. The gift had outgrown the giver. It belonged to every blind child now. sunset over 5th and Vine. Nancy stood with her paddle, silver hair catching the last light. A small voice called out from the crowd of children, a girl running toward her. "Miss Nancy, I heard you in the hospital. You told me about the dogwoods and the fish."
She knows my voice. Even here, then walk careful, baby, and listen to the world. It's telling you everything.
The girl beamed and skipped across the street, glancing back once. Nancy lifted her paddle. A car grumbled to a stop, its headlights warm on her vest. The light changed. She stepped off the curb, leading a new group of children through the amber glow. The wing stood miles away, but her voice was everywhere. She never looked back. Her work wasn't finished. The streetlights on 5th and Vine flickered on one by one. Nancy's stop paddle rested against the signpost, worn and familiar. In the distance, the gold letters of the Nancy wing glowed through the darkening sky. A car passed slowly, its headlights sweeping the empty corner. But a few miles away, a child who had never seen a dogwood tree pressed a small button, and a voice, warm and weathered as old leather, began to say, "Curb, step down, and on your left." The voice did not know it was being heard. It simply spoke as it had every morning for 7 years. Some gifts don't need eyes to be seen. They only need a voice and a long walk every morning before the sun came up.